Boop. All right. Welcome to behind the scenes of my $2 million income stream. But before we get into that, I wanted to say thank you. It's been a long 20 years of doing businesses, trying things, failing things, to get to where we are today. And so I really appreciate that you took a chance on me with my paper baby, $1 Million Weekend, and getting it for yourself and taking a chance on yourself. Yeah, it's available for you, and you can do it too. And so I do hope by sharing this private video, it can inspire you around your own income streams. And it's possible. If you take anything away from this video, I'm going to share a lot of behind the scenes that's not public. This video won't be public. It's just for you. And I appreciate, again, you supporting me on this book, and I'm here to support you too. And let's jump in. I'm super busy with the launch, so we don't have any editor editing this video. And I have literally just pulled up my finances, and so I'm going to go through all my income stuff. So we don't have a lot of screenshots, because otherwise it would take, I don't know, maybe 2 weeks to a month editing this video. So that's just a little context of where we are today. Feel free to DM me on all these social media planets. I do my best to respond to all of them. The questions are short. So, as well, on noahkagan.com/where's-my-money, you can see the template. It's totally free, that I've used for 15 years, that I do every single month around how I track my money. And I promise you, the best way to make more money is to look at your money. The best way to make it is to make sure you're looking at it every single month, whether it's up or down. And when we face these things and we start looking at them, you start realizing you have the ability to change them. That's why all my dollars are always in the same direction. It's a little hack Susie Orman taught me. So put your dollars in your same direction and check the dollars, and they will watch out for you. You watch out for them, they're watching out for you. Yo, money, where you at? I got your back. All right, so let me just share high level about how my finances look in terms of the income streams. Then I'll break them down where the money comes in from each month. And again, I'm sharing it at my income just from AppSumo. And I'll even share a little bit more in depth how that works, because even though it's 3.3 million, it's not I just get 3.3 million, right? The government, shout out all you governors, take some, and there's other ways I do it, which I think you can copy in your own income streams. But one thing to think about is when I was starting out, 21 years old, my starting salary was $55,000. There's ways that you're like, okay, well, there's not as much income dials you can do on that. And again, it's starting there to get to 20 years later where I am today. So if you do anything in your own businesses, start an LLC. Again, I know I'm not here to sell you on an LLC. I want you to have a business, but most people that have day jobs are getting started in the income streams. You have passive income streams. So that's the real estate stuff. That's going to be this investing stock stuff I'm going to break down. But your active income stream, which no one talks about, is what are things that you can create that have unlimited upside, where you can just keep doing it over and over and over again, and there's more and more and more and more and more money to make. Obviously, that's exactly what I'm teaching you in $1 Million Weekend, where the upside of these things is insane. So starting an LLC as well, the tax advantages worldwide are just super amazing. The government wants you to be an entrepreneur. Okay, so in terms of income streams, I have a salary from AppSumo.com. This year it's $250,000. I finally got a raise. That was nice of my boss, me to finally get one. But the way I like to operate the company, just to give you context, is that we have all this money, let's say revenue, and then there's cost, and then there's profit at the end of the year. In Q4 of the year, and again, you guys want to see behind the scenes, this is behind the scenes. We budget and taper down our spending. So let's say we have $1 million of profit. In Q4, it's how do we get that number to zero? Because if you have extra money, it goes to taxes. But you basically get a 20% corporate tax or whatever your tax rate is, free money if you actually invest it and spend it, so that the subsequent years get even bigger. And that's, again, advantages of having your own LLC or C Corp or whatever business you have. And so at the end of the year, we pay our team a lot of money. We take them on a full retreat. We buy sponsorships. We buy ads. We buy servers, whatever we can invest so that the futures are bigger. And at the end of paying everyone else, then Chad and myself take our distributions. So one thing that's interesting is I take half of my salary as a W-2 employee, just as a straight up employee, and then the other half as a sponsorship to my content creation businesses. And so what's interesting about that is that there's a lot of tax advantages. There's no salary tax, there's no payroll tax, and there's a lot of things you can set up by having your own LLC. There's the guys over at Ocho.com, shout out Ankur Nagpal, where you can set up your own SEP IRA. So when you're a part of a company, you're talking about income streams. I'm telling you about the income. And there's a lot. I don't know how long this video is going to be, but you pre-ordered, I'm going to deliver what I promised to you. When you have your own LLC, you can actually put more in than you can through a 401k as an employee. Most times in employees, it's like 3 to 6%, or I don't know where it is today. But as your own entrepreneur, you can actually do, I think like with the SEP IRA, it's like $63,000 a year. That's pretty good. And so ideally you're making a lot of profit so you can put that stuff in there. And again, that's not what I had years ago, but it's like you start your own business and you could start dry cleaning business. You could start a lawn mowing business. You can start a agency business for ads, for content. You can do a software business. There's so many different options out there. I even saw someone at AppSumo, David Kelly, who runs all our originals. He has a consulting business where he's teaching people how he runs businesses. I was like, great. So I have my salary, half comes to AppSumo. I get all my salary in the beginning. And at the end of the year, I get a distribution. I just do it as a regular distribution at the end of the year if we have it available. So for context, it was $3 million last year. The year before that, it was $900,000. And so I basically took all of my money. We didn't have as much money, but two, I cut all the money so that the rest of the team could get paid. And we didn't have to cut people and people could have good salaries. But that's also some of the fluctuations that can happen. Again, if you have a salary, like start your side hustle, because literally it takes 5 years. It took me 5 years to finally start becoming a millionaire on that stuff. And it would have been paid better having my day job. And what I've noticed is a lot of these day job prisoners, as I might call them, that don't like their day jobs, there's a lot of people that don't make enough year one. They're like, well, I'm making so much in my day job. Why would I change? It's like, well, yeah, you just have to stick with this thing. And over time, it will surpass your day job. So where that money, I guess where my income stream comes from. So yeah, that's really around how my salary works. It's $250,000 base salary. I don't get anything else outside of that. That's part there. I have the YouTube channel. Let me just break out where that money comes from. Again, all these things you start and you stick with, and they do pay off over time. It's not necessarily like immediately. The YouTube channel, I actually don't make any money off of. So there's not really any income stream to talk about. In last month, we did around $20,000 in ad revenue from our YouTube channel. It cost at least, I haven't looked at the final numbers. I've been busy with AppSumo and this book launch, but it's at least $30,000 of salaries. So there's not money being made there. So the income stream there is negative. But that for yourself, you don't need to hire all these people necessarily, or I pay super high premiums to make sure I get talented people. You don't need to do that either. But this content creation stuff can make good amounts of money. So that's the revenue stream from content creation. Now, around content creation, I have had the site noahkagan.com. I think a lot of you guys are subscribed or you're familiar with it. I have made probably millions of dollars, but not directly. So by being public, by tweeting or emailing or contenting, the people I've met, like as I'm doing this $1 Million Weekend book launch, the amount of people who I've promoted or interviewed on my show or whatnot are all available because I've helped them over the years. So I think sometimes if you're not getting that dollar income stream, are you getting that relationship income stream? And not necessarily counting it and tracking it and things like that. But I think that's a good way to think about it sometimes, where you're not merely making money immediately, but you're making relationships that can pay off at a later point. And that's been invaluable, tens of millions of dollars, from these different things. As well as on content, when I was starting out in my day jobs, I did have, links to like Google AdSense and stuff like that on my stuff. And again, it's reps, it's practice. It's realizing, one, they control the AdSense dollars. Two, the numbers are small. Three, you can monetize better, but get started, getting going, and then you can lead to that. That's what I always encouraged from $1 Million Weekend in the process, is by getting ads on my site on noahkagan.com. It helped me launch freecalls2.com, which don't even go look at it. I don't even know if it might actually be online, but basically I saw that articles about voice over IP were doing the site. It's not even on right now. But it started making like $50 a month. And again, think of it as reps and practice of entrepreneurship. Don't worry about it being the end game. It's just a skill you're developing and you're taking reps on. But that was because I was blogging, put ads on. And the point here is, in terms of income stream, I have Amazon affiliate on my book stuff. They're on the website. Let's look it up. But I think the Amazon affiliate stuff is actually, I don't know, it was like $200 a month. And again, these things compound, right? These things are going to kind of keep adding over time. So if you get going and it's not big, great, but stick with it. And those things really compound and get bigger and bigger. As well, what you'll notice from like these affiliates or doing like small affiliate sites and stuff like that, the numbers are small, no matter how much you work. So think about, okay, if I'm going to work an hour and yes, it's fun and it feels like I'm doing stuff, what's the best return for that hour? Especially, a lot of y'all are busy. You got families, you got kids, you got day jobs, you got hobbies, you got your own stuff. So just step back and it's like, okay, if I were to do only an hour this weekend, which you all have, what's the best return on that time? And then the question is, well, how do I know? Well, you have 4 weekends in a month and see which one gives you either the most traffic or most dollars or the most emails. And I think you'll be surprised. Wow, I'm probably spending time a lot in things that feel good, but in terms of what actually is making the difference, it's like, that's why freecalls2.com is literally down. I have no idea. And so I'm focusing on the big money. That's why, and I'll talk about my income from real estate and other areas. That's why I literally don't care about my real estate. I got a message last week, no joke. Your house flooded. And I was like, all right, cool. Got to focus on the book. And it's not that I'm so rich or that I don't care about it, which, I have the money for it, but it's like, I'm focused on the big money. And when you're starting, just focus on the money and get that momentum going. And then as over time, a great example of this is I remember there was a month that I spent a whole month looking for real estate. This is 7 years ago. And I spent the whole month looking for it. And I found this house. It was over in the east of Austin. And then I put a bid. It was $430,000. I put a bid, $430,000. And someone bid it and outbid me and got the house. And I was just like, okay, let's even take I got that house. I don't even know if I ended up bidding on that specific one, but somebody got it. Let's say that house in the past 7 years has doubled to $800,000. And then now so that's one thing. And then let's take the cash flow. So the $430,000, maybe I could have Airbnb'd it out and I would have made $10,000 a year. Now, what was crazy is at that time, we were actually doing $10,000 a day in profit at AppSumo. So if you have a day job, it's not bad to do real estate. It's not bad to do the stock market. I think those are good passive incomes. But I think thinking about, okay, what am I doing with my active income? And it's crazy, right? It was $10,000 a year or $10,000 a day. Why am I spending any time on that income stream? I think people are deceiving you where they're like, do all these income streams, diversify. It's like the richest people in the world got rich off one income stream. And yes, they diversify afterwards, but their active income is actually the thing to be mindful of, not the passive income. That's where there's a big misconception. So something to be thinking about. And again, where's your competitive advantage? When you're doing real estate, you're competing against everyone. Maybe when you do other things like content or service or some skill you've done in the past, you're competing against just a few. I made $300 on Amazon affiliate. We need sound effects. Woo, woo! No, there's no sound effects. All right. Now let's look at the Airbnb. That was monthly. So in terms of Airbnb, again, I think in January, in 2023, I did $123,000. I have 2 Airbnbs. And they're such a pain in the freaking ass. I'm sharing the income stream and I'm also sharing the thoughts behind it. Again, I think what's cool about business and life is try it out for yourself. So I bought one Airbnb and I was like, I just want to learn. And what I'm noticing is like that one actually got flooded a few weeks ago, a different one. The neighbor flooded in and that was my problem. And yes, I do have a property manager, but they still come to you with problems. And then there's taxes and there's distractions. And I think it's good to try it, but then take a step back of how do you want to spend your time? And what are the best income streams for you? There are, real estate's real. That's kind of a fun pun. Really cool. I like it. It's very neat. But relative to the amount of time you do in it, it's not liquid. There's a lot of competition. You have to put cash up front. There's a lot of other ways for cheap to make even way more money that's even less competitive. So why wouldn't you do that? And I think that's a historical thing that we're still working through, and egotistically, because it's nice to be like, that is my physical thing versus like, hey, this is my sub count or this is my digital course. Whole nother video about real estate. But in January of this month, January 29, 2024, I made the video the day before it was due. But again, literally what we teach in $1 Million Weekend was like, see what people actually want. And this income stream was what y'all wanted the most. Then that's what we made. So that's why I'm making it the day before it's due. Not just procrastination, but we want to make sure we knew what product and things you wanted as an incentive. So in terms of Airbnb, it looks like in January this month, I will do around $3,400 so far. The month, holy shit, really? Damn, that's pretty low. Last month I did $6,300. So it looks like it's averaging around 6 to 8K a month. February is going to be about $7,800. So again, that sounds super cool. $8,000 a month. Wow. But then you take mortgages, then you take property tax, then you take the property manager. All things considered, now it actually, in terms of profit, about $1,000 a month, maybe $1,500 a month ballpark. I don't even know the number. It's so small, which is great. $18,000 a year. But I could spend that same amount of time on a video. And one of the things, if you've seen the tweet that went viral for me, is like, you can also give someone else to do it. And I gave it to a syndicated professional real estate and I lost $100,000 in this stuff. I truly, I'm 41 years old at the time of this recording. It feels like a time capsule. At the time of this recording, I'm 41 years old. I truly think the best things to do with your money, I mean, I'll tell you my asset allocation as well, but I do think the best things to do with your money, create an active income stream that you're totally in control of, or you're significantly influencing. Tax advantages, business advantages, and upside advantages. Keep some in cash. Keep some in liquid equities that you don't touch, and you just put in dollar cost averaging, meaning you put the same dollar amount over every month, and put some in risky. And I think that really is the key. It's just so distracting on these small things. And maybe one way to think about it for yourself as you're building up your income streams is opportunity cost. So if it's not a 5-figure opportunity, then it's a cost. And so start having some thresholds that you're making decisions by. Because I think that risky area is cool because you're learning, but I think many people are over-indexing on the risky to get rich when you will get rich if you just stick with something long enough. So that is Airbnb. I have 3 other real estate places. I bought them. This is an interesting kind of revenue income stream. I bought them as offices for AppSumo. So I bought them for $300,000, $315,000, and $45,000, these condos, and I rented them to AppSumo at a profit. But again, what's crazy is 10 years later, I think I make $500 each one a month, maybe. So that's kind of cool, $6,000 a year. But again, small numbers, which is fine. And I'm not here to discourage that. I'm just here to show you other sides of the amount of effort it takes. And also the fan broke. The tenant texted the property manager yesterday. There's different things there. So it was cool from that perspective. But one, the amount that it actually appreciated in 7 years, if COVID never happened, it wouldn't have been significant. I tried to sell them last year and I couldn't even get buyers, barely above what I paid. One I paid $45,000, so I think someone offered $519,000. But after realtor fees, I lose money on it, which I'm going to do this year because I want to be free of those. So it's interesting to rent something out to yourself. But again, if I would have put that same capital and rented, if you actually do the math over that same period of time, put the capital in the market, leave it alone, come back on it 7 years later, not have any liquidity issues with the properties you have to sell and wait. There's eventually a buyer, but it's not at the price you think. And when I sell it, if I would have just put it in the market, I'm pretty sure someone does this math for me, which I don't even have to, you don't have to do it. I'll tell you, I would have made a lot more money and less bullshit, less hassles. Something to think about. I'm sharing you one of the income streams. I'm sharing where the hell it all comes from. So you guys can make some decisions for yourself, but these are just different things for me. In terms of other income streams, going back to my spreadsheet, I do have crypto. And here's what I'd recommend. Follow Ramit Sethi, I Will Teach You to Be Rich. I think he really has the best approach around finances, which is just do everything automatic. So right now, I think it's about $10,000 a month. It goes into, this is not necessarily income, but it does create dividends, which I just have it automatically reinvest. Where is it? I'm giving you the 5 that I buy, and you could just do it yourself. Where are you? Hold on. Why does it not show up? All right, let me pull it up here. So I do basically a global, I do 60% America, 40% global, 90% stocks, 10% index fund, 10% bonds. I do use wealth advisors. I use Red Bud Advisors here in Austin, Texas. There's also Advice Period, but I was too annoying and too small of a client for them. I also don't like how a lot of these wealth advisors charge. They charge on your dollar of management. And what I found is they're not it's just why are you getting more and you're not doing more? You're not adding more, but you're just taking a percent. So I like fixed fee advisors. That's what's worked for me. So I have a fixed, I won't say their amount, but you can talk to them. Just have a fixed amount. And I don't know if they've had life-changing advice, but if you think about it, having wealth advisors or coaches, it's a lot of accountability and some structure to hey, every quarter I'm meeting with them to think about my money. And it's nice to have an outside perspective on that. So in terms of, let me pull it up here, the actual stocks that I buy. So what you do at a level of wealth, this is not talked about, maybe less. What you do is, a lot of people now know tax loss harvesting. I think that's kind of familiar where if you have Pepsi, you sell it and buy Coke and then you can capture that taxes. When you have an index fund, it's hard to do that. And index fund investing is what is recommended to most people. I think there's going to be a company that'll come out about this that does it. I'm logging into the account. What you can do, I use a thing called Parametric through Schwab. You can actually index fund your own index at a certain amount. So it's about $1 million. And what that means is instead of buying an index fund, and I'll tell you the index funds I buy, just copy that if you're starting out. And again, just set this up and forget it. Like I did this on crypto. This is how I'm a crypto millionaire. $500 a month. Same thing I do with stocks. I think people, unless you're like my stepfather, where this is like all you do, and he really did a good job of this. He beat the market every year. It's very impressive. But he literally like does this every day, all day. And if you're not doing that, you're not going to win. Let me see. I'll tell you the ones I buy. But with Parametric, you can actually create your own index fund and capture a lot more of the tax loss harvesting in these stocks, which is pretty cool. So here's the 4 I do: SPLG, SPDW, SPSM, and then SPEM. So it's not necessarily income stream. This is more my investing stream. But what you do is you just put this on auto. So I have $10,000 a month. It goes into some percentages represented similarly here. And again, I just set this shit up and don't worry about it. Like spend time with your family, spend time living. I think way too many people are trying to they're trying to turn their passive income into active income. And I think that's backwards. Like create active income and then have a separated, very differentiated passive income. I also have a lot of my income go into T-bills, right? With the way the interest rates are now at 5%, I'm like, hell yeah, guaranteed 5% return. Same with AppSumo Capital. I think we have like $10 million or $12 million of capital at 5% of return. That's what is that now? $600,000 a year. And yes, if you have better returns or better options for that money, but for me, I just want to guarantee I don't want the money to have any volatility. Let me see other parts of where I'm getting income each month. I'm not buying crypto anymore. I've bought some hard assets. So I bought some Rolexes. Again, it's not really income being generated each month. I've invested, looks like 15 different startups, and I only invest in companies I use. That's my philosophy. But what's interesting about it is that I've probably put about $200,000 in them across years. Only one, which is Ankur Nagpal of Teachable. Thank you, my man. I put in 10,000, I got back 60,000, but that was 10 years later. So when people are like, I'm an investor, I was like, fuck, this shit takes forever. And then you have no control over it. It's nice as maybe a diversification. It's nice to learn. It's nice to be a part of things. It's nice to see the minutes and board meetings and notes of how they run their businesses. But outside of that, from a income stream perspective, I wonder if a lot of them, these investors get rich on their management fees. And as well, they're already rich. And then, if one of their things hits, then yes, 10 years later, they're getting this insane return. It's also just not how I've approached stuff. I've also done a decent amount of syndicated investments for real estate. I wouldn't do that now. Again, I put in like 100,000 and then they did a capital call. They're like, we need an extra 20,000. And then I sent in an extra 20. And then 2 months later, they're like, oh, it's foreclosed. And, getting fired, sharing a lot of these stories, sharing around my incomes. It's a good reminder that you're not as in control of these things. And so if you don't know what you're putting your money in, or if it seems too good to be true, it probably is. I don't think this stuff is too good to be true. And these guys are stand-up guys, but they're the ones making final calls. And if you're an equity holder versus a debt holder in real estate, you can literally just get removed. And it's like, oh, okay. That was an expensive lesson for me to think about. There's a TV over here and there's a TV here. So if you guys see me looking over different areas, that's what I'm doing. And I'm looking at my finance sheet here. What other incomes do I have? So yeah, content there. I talked about the real estate. I get a little bit from that. I get the crypto stuff. I used to do a lot of this like staking and then, all this stuff, which was free money, but I almost lost $1 million in BlockFi, which is one of those things that they went bankrupt. And thank God I pulled it out like a week or two before they closed everybody. That was crazy. That was a crazy day. I was like, thank God. You can do a DAF. I think these are more common now. Donor advisory fund, where you take stock and put it in a fund that goes to charity. And so you can write that off tax-free. I don't know. What other income stuff am I doing? Let me see my phone. I think what's crazy to think about my income is if you actually look at, I'm looking over my other income streams here. Okay, so base salary, real estate, T-bills, told you that. My asset allocation is 20% cash, 30% real estate, 35% equities, 15% risky. And so for people out there that are newer to this, you create an allocation around your targets, and this is based on your risk portfolios. And then from there, you try to make sure you line up to it. So if you have too much cash, if you're dollar investing every month into the market, if you have too much, you either put more in or you move it to these other areas. So over the years, I'm actually going to reduce my real estate Probably increase equities just in terms of ease of use, ease of mind. Just as I've gotten older, maybe real estate down to 20, 25%, and then equities maybe up to 50%. And again, you don't have to do it all at once. So if you look at stock market crashes, I actually looked up some of the data, and it was like most crashes recover. It was like a 5 to 8 year period. So you don't have to dollar cost average. For me, this is how I approach it. You want to hear how I do it? So I don't put it all at once. It's like, okay, I want to take $100,000. Let's do it, divide it over 5 years every month, and then put that kind of money in. I'm going to share 2 other things, and I think this is a lot about my income streams. What's interesting about my income streams is that the majority of the money I've created and made, I would say, is in the income of my business. And maybe that's like the shocker, not shocker, but I think the thing for you to realize is that I started it for $60 really quickly, and then I stuck with it. And I didn't pay myself at all for a very, very long period of time. Very long. And it's not to say that you have to do it. You could do better than me. I hope you do. But today, that's 99% of my income. And, I talked to my stepfather, Norm, about it. And Norm is like, yeah, you're not like everyone else. And most people, which you don't have to be. It's not some exclusive club. You could be anywhere worldwide doing these things. I started it while I had these day jobs, which everyone can do. And then you find eventually with $1 Million Weekend, you will find something works and you stick with this stuff. And it creates this insane amount of success for yourself where maybe it's not as much money as, maybe it's whatever money you fucking think, but it's realizing that you can create this insane life and it's available for everyone. Don't think it's Silicon Valley. I think there's so many people getting rich that are not on social media, not talking about it, and just living awesome lives. So I think that's one thing to really think about in income, right? And I would say a lot of you, what I'd bet is that either you have a business or you have a day job and you're like, I'd like to make $1 million a year. And what I talk about in the book is getting to your freedom number, which is, for me, it was $3,000, which for me was like, how much did it cost to save, to live, housing, and then like entertainment and food. And a lot of times what's interesting is I talk to people about these smaller things and they're like, no, tell me how you run the $80 million your business, or tell me about this other stuff. And I'm like, that's not the stuff that you need. It's the fun stuff. It's the sexy stuff. It's the title stuff. But the reality of stuff is get to your freedom number doing something you like and then stick with it. And I promise you, in time to come, you will be a millionaire. And maybe you'll have more than $1 million, or maybe you have less, but you will have a great life. So that is something that, whether you have a day job or not, really think about, how do I just get to this number doing something I'm enjoying? Because I was so frustrated having these jobs or having jobs taken away from me that I'd never wanted that again. And that's available for you. And so, other examples of this, if you have a job, you can start side hustles doing that kind of work outside. Obviously, you don't want to jeopardize your work. But, Nick Christensen, he works at AppSumo. He's our head of growth. He started an agency for dental people. He's a great marketer. Phenomenal. He's spent more on ads and all this stuff than any of the YouTubers that have videos out there. All of them. Actually done it. So he's doing on the side a marketing agency for certain businesses. He also opened a teeth whitening clinic called Perfect 10 in Dallas. I don't go there, but I should. I don't know if I should. Teeth are pretty good. But point being, though, is that he got that going. And now he wants to start being more public. Great. And it's like over time, that stuff does compound. It's not $1 million day 1, but it's $1 million day 10, year 10, not day 10. So the point, though, is you do have to start. It may not work right away, but you also then have to keep starting and starting and starting and starting. But I think that's just one of the highlights I have to say for my income stream is that it's not, it's mostly from AppSumo. I think the other thing is I'm going over these income streams with you. Yeah, they take time to grow. It doesn't happen all at once. And then as you're doing it, be patient with yourself. Have a dream. Maybe have some dreams of what you could do with this money and enjoying it. I think I was a multi-millionaire for so long and I never enjoyed this money. And it's an enjoyable process to start a business and learn about yourself. And I think with these income streams, yes, I could do a lot more on YouTube to make money. I could do more real estate to make money. I could do a lot of other things to make more money. But I think it's been fascinating that I found ways that I'm making enough. I could pay myself way more from AppSumo. And every year that's kind of an interesting experience. Like, how much do I pay myself? Do I deserve it? How much am I worth? How much are you worth? There is definitely, I think it's a Jim Rohn quote, like you're paid relative to the amount of people you help. And so you are worth it. you can get these crazy income streams. Maybe 3 million a year doesn't sound like a lot, or maybe it does. Maybe you should have more, and it's available for you to do the same thing. You do have to get started today. You do have to stick with it. I would say that, now I'm rambling. What I was finishing with though is also just reducing the distractions of the income streams. So like maybe not doing these ones that feel nice but don't make a difference. Like I had a lot of, Amazon affiliate, $200 a month. It's like no matter how amazing I do at it, it's like $400 a month. And so I'd say that a good way to make a bigger income stream is removing the small ones. And I think there's the ones that most people think they should do or are told to do, but then when you actually look at the math of this stuff and how much effort it takes, the cost is lower, the risk is lower, the upside is higher in getting your own business going in almost any category versus, this real estate area and these other areas, which maybe you can do more passively. And not necessarily unless you're a professional around that, which is competitive. So those are all of my income streams. I still, go to, again, noahkagan.com/where's-my-money. You can see exactly how I track my money every single month. I've been doing this 15 years. I use Redbud Advisors. I love you. I'll see you out there. Pew, pew. One bonus thing. If you're thinking today, hey, I want to make more money, the easiest way for you to do that, besides selling your stuff on eBay or Etsy or Facebook Marketplace, which is literally like you could make money instantly, think about what you've already gotten paid for and do that today. I think that's one of the easiest hacks. Like for me, I now know how to run a company, which I don't think I've used to know how to do. I know how to start businesses because I've done it a lot. I know how to now write a book. I know how to do YouTube channels. And so think about it for yourself, like, what have you done in the past you've gotten paid for or gotten recognized for? And that is truly something you can post right now on social media, right now to your WhatsApp group, right now via phone call, right now via text. Don't worry about the how of like, oh, I need a website. You don't. And right now you can actually start generating more income for yourself. I'll do a great example. My brother, he's a doctor. He wants to have flexibility in his lifestyle and he wants to wait because some things, but he can literally right now post to social media, or you can ask friends, your zone of influence. They want to help you. This is literally what I cover in the book. Hey, Noah, can you ask your friends if anybody want to talk to a doctor for $50? I can help them. Do you mind posting that on social media? Do you mind posting that to some of your emails, some of your friends? As well, he's also created things like he created workouts. There's not many workouts that are doctors. And by the way, he doesn't want to be famous. He doesn't want attention. He doesn't want to be on YouTube and all that. That's okay. Can someone else do it for him? Can he post it without him doing it? Can he hire someone else to do it? That's another option. Third is he's created things. Like he calls it horse powder. It's actually called horse beep, which I can't say. I can say it. It's called horse cum. This video is private. And it's his ultra endurance powder that he created. And by the way, this is the stuff that's businesses. And I think people don't realize, like the things that are hobbies and the things that you're just like, I'm just kind of goofing off and it's the thing. It's like, that's the thing. The thing is the thing. Larry. And so he created this powder and he was making it. He's like, yeah, I love it. It's literally the best thing I've ever found ever for ultra endurance sports. And I was like, don't need a Shopify site yet. You don't need anything. You can literally post anywhere or message people directly and see if you can actually pre-sell it. And so what I'm sharing that about income for you, it goes for all jobs. My girlfriend's a SAP engineer and she's also very fit and she also speaks Spanish and she's amazing and she's also going to be a mom. And so there's all these different aspects of her that if she wants to create more income, she can enjoy and leverage as well. Think about who do you have access to already to help. And I think that's definitely missed out a lot of the times where the appeal is, let me do this thing that's totally anonymous. No one even knows. I try to scale the shit out of it and it's hard to make $1. There is another way. And I would say that's $1 million weekend way. And I look forward to seeing you do that out there. Let me know how it goes. Hit me up in the DMs. If you guys have specific questions, if you're reading the book and it's changing your life, leave a review. Let other people know how it could change their lives and really send me photos of you with the book and you taking action in your own life. In terms of income streams, the book income stream is 0. I candidly, I don't know. I'm not getting rich out of this book. This is private. The people aren't going to say it. I got $750 for the book in terms of my advance, but then there's an agent. Then I had to pay Tal Rosalot, and then you don't get the money up front. You get different sections, and then I have to sell like 1 trillion books, which again, I didn't even really look at the contracts because I was like, I make my money in AppSumo. My point of my book is not to make money for me. It's to get the message out there and for you to be a millionaire. So I don't know what the income stream is, but as of now, it's negative. Cool. All right. I love you guys. See you out there.